Be Mighty, a weekly dose of inspiring words of wisdom from the streets of New York City by artist and entrepreneur Terrence Kellerman of Dynamite.
Hey guys, Terrence Kellerman in week 2 of the Be Mighty Flyer Project. And this week we have flyer number 32. We're going to have a lot of really good quotes in here. But essentially the idea of the podcast is every week I go out in the city and I put these flyers all around, say Be Mighty, and you can tear off a different tab. Every tab is different, and every week I change them. And they say, inspirational things that, or either words of wisdom that you can tear off one that you like and keep it with you, or share it and spread it around. That's the whole idea of the Be Mighty flyer. So let's get into this week's flyer and get into some quotes. But first, I do want to say how thankful I am that everybody, how much support there was last week for the first podcast or vlog of this series. So I was pretty overwhelmed, and I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys have any comments, suggestions, ideas for other segments of the Be Mighty Flyer Project, please add them in the comments. But otherwise, let's get going. Let's get underway. Be Mighty. Okay, this week's flyer starts with Byron Katie. It's not your job to like me, it's mine. This is a good one in the sense that I don't think we put enough emphasis on even the idea of liking oneself or loving oneself is such a, I think, foreign concept in so many spaces of society that I like the little twist here. It's not your job to like me. Like not having to have the dependence on other people to gain the satisfaction. And it really starts from there. It really has to start from within yourself. Like, do you love yourself? Do you accept yourself? And if so, the rest of it kind of doesn't matter. You can just get ahead and go and do what you need to do. Let's go to the next next quote. Tomlin says, "The road to success is always under construction." Yeah, I like that. I think it's definitely something that, I don't know, this is 13 years in business now, and I've always felt that, the next year it'll get better or whatever, or it'll just get easier. It doesn't. It doesn't get easier. And neither does life. Life just continues to evolve and shape and change, and hopefully, hopefully it does, because if it doesn't, then it doesn't mean you're trying a whole hell of a lot. But the road to success is always under construction. For me, is like, this is a constant work in progress. Life, constant state of entropy and construction and building. So, very nice quote. Let's go to the next one. Buddha says, "Satisfy the needs of life like the butterfly that sips the flower without destroying its fragrance or texture." I think this is kind of like for me, I read it like, I don't know, you can read it two ways. Like, you can read it like there's everything that you need of life that's important. You don't need to take anything destructive from the world to get it. Like, the most important things, the most valuable things in your life, your love, your family, the fact your heart's beating, that you're in this planet, in this world, in this life. Those are obviously the needs of life, but just the idea that, we don't need all this other stuff around us to sort of be happy. We can find all of that fulfillment and joy without having to be destructive or creating more crap around us that we don't necessarily need. Lloyd Alexander says, "We learn more by looking for the answer to a question and not finding it than we do by learning the answer itself." That's a good one. And this is like, we always have, as human beings, I think, this need for, plugging in things in the equation and computing the result and getting the answer. And then when we have the answer, we feel like secure and we know and we're knowledgeable. But it's in not knowing that I think you have so much when you're comfortable with not knowing or comfortable with not having an answer, you have more resilience and you can go further. You're also, I think, in the end, going to be a lot stronger of a person. And the answers that you do find at the end, when you have to kind of figure it all out for yourself, is always something that's much, much more valuable to me. Stephen Covey says, it's not what happens to us, but our response to what happens to us that hurts us. It's not what happens to us, but our response to what happens to us that hurts. I have to say that sometimes I write these down, not with like some full grasp of what the thing means to me, but that I feel like I have to learn something from it. So this is kind of one of those examples. I mean, again, it's a very simple Buddhist thought too, that we can just, it's not the thing itself, but our reaction. You know, the thing that we give it meaning by the thing that by our reaction to whatever's happening to us. Something bad happens. Oh God, you know, the world is like this, and then suddenly we're giving that thing, which is just, you know, indifferent to us, new values and new meanings. And so sometimes if you can sort of disconnect yourself from those things, I think you can be a lot more level-headed about the things that happen in your life, hopefully. Going to Tony Robbins. If you do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. If you do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. This really gets to the fundamental challenge, I think, of what we're comfortable with as human beings. Like we don't want to. We want to stick with the daily habits and behaviors. I even even with my staff, and I try to talk about this stuff to sort of break habit, because habits can be good, and obviously a lot of habits are really important. We need them, but habit without going unchecked keeps you in a sort of insular vision of things, and you never break out to change your perceptions or give that opportunity a chance for something else to happen. And you're certainly not pushing yourself. So Tony Robbins is awesome. I mean, I would even suggest, if you guys have a chance, check out his emotional flooding exercise. It's on YouTube. You can just check it out after this video. But really awesome stuff. Really appreciate a lot of what he does. Jim Rohn. Happiness is not by chance, but by choice. I mean, I mentioned this, in last week's vlog about, getting to times in my life where it just felt like everything around me was imploding, and just like, and I had to literally stop and make a conscious decision to find beauty, to find value, to find happiness in the things around me, and to choose to be happy. And it sounds kind of absurd, because sometimes you feel like, oh, all this stuff is happening, how can I just turn off my emotions? But it's not turning them off as much as you're saying, I'm turning around, and I'm not going to be inundated by this stuff. I'm going to choose to be happy, and I'm going to start my day, and I'm going to continue to make strides in that direction. That's what I think the choice of happiness is. Let's go to the next quote. It's a really good one. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires. William Arthur Ward. I mean, I think about this a lot as a parent myself, and I would challenge you, or challenge everybody, to think of themselves a little bit differently than, like, for example, when you can actually create inspiration and motivation for people, it just has such a I want to say wildfire, like a viral effect on people. it's just, when you inspire somebody, you're not bringing them into your thing even. You're saying, here's this amazing something, here's this amazing experience now. Go and create and flourish and create that for yourself and for anybody else around you. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it's hard for me to put it into words, but that has a lot of meaning to me. Let's go to the next quote, Albert Einstein. You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. I think about that in terms of whether it's graphic design or business or whatever, you know. I think a lot of times this interesting thing when I was in art school, we had a project that it just drove all of us crazy as art students. We were like fresh out of high school. We wanted to, like, you know, rip our shirts off and start making like expressive paintings and doing all this like artistic work. And the first drawing project we ever had was to draw an egg on a certain size piece of paper, and the egg couldn't be bigger than, you know, 25% of the paper, and it couldn't be smaller than, it had all these rules, and it was just like, oh God, it was so annoying. It was Ralph Warman. God bless you, Ralph, for giving us this lesson. I really appreciate it. Still talk about it, obviously, today. But it was fascinating because we were all hemming and hawing about it. But then when we came in that first day and we hung up all the different drawings on the walls, it was amazing. Every single drawing was so different. And it wasn't different because we were all like, you know, trying to be different. It was just because your natural self is going to come out in whatever it is you do. And, you know, when you create the rules of the game, and when you really, really know them, that's the time at which you can break and derivate from the game in a way that makes it interesting. Because if you're just going like, you know, wild all the time, you're not going to be effective. You have to really, and I do this a lot in the business, is, you know, learn how other systems work, learn how other people do things, and then take that slight derivation from what it is that they do. And, you know, that's how I found all these like little marketing niches for the company along the way. So I really believe in that. You have to learn the rules of the game before, and then play better than anyone else. I would say even break them better than anyone else. Last one for this week is, he who hesitates is lost. Proverb. Now, I feel that this is another one that's really tough to take on because it's so simple, but it's also it's the fundamental difference between what separates someone like myself, who sat in a desk 13 years ago, had an idea for a product, and thought, oh, this could be something. If I would have hesitated and stayed in that thought, or said, well, you know what? Everything up till now has taught me that I'm really not a designer, I'm not a businessman, I'm not a marketer, I'm not a financier, I don't know anything about any of these things. Why should I get into business? I would have been lost. And I didn't stop. And I didn't accept that answer as acceptable. And I didn't have to know the entire end game, but I just took that first step. And then I took the second step. And then the third step. And that's all you are required to do in life, you know. But just don't sit there and think about it. Do yourself a favor. Go get a Be Mighty flyer this week. Download them at bemighty.net. These are the words of inspiration that, you know, when I was starting the business, and I used to take off little fortune cookies and tape them on my computer screen so I could see them every day, so I'd be inspired to get up and inspired to push myself that little bit more. So, you know, we can use these for ourselves, we can use them for our friends and our school and our work. So please go and get a Be Mighty flyer for yourself. Again, thanks for all the awesome support. You guys are amazing. If you want to follow me, I'm on the BeMighty.net site has all of the current flyers, so you can download a flyer from a previous week if you like. share those wherever you feel you would like to. Share them responsibly. And I also have all the quotes sort of for each week broken out. You can just download the flyers right here. And then you can also follow me on Instagram. So here's you know, some of the latest in the Be Mighty Flyer project and some of my life and things that are going on in there. So you can hook up with me there, and as always, I hope to see you guys being mighty.